Alright, very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Babael here, joined by Katips, and with me is two very interesting, guest members, and that's Crea and Beyond. We also have WaningMoon, but he will not have a webcam, or rather, he does not have a webcam, therefore, not able to show the faces here. But yeah, we have four guys, four quad-way webcam. This is how we're gonna do the podcast. This is the first time we're doing it over here at Southeast Asia, and we have a bit of introduction first. I am the main producer in charge of productions, and I'm Babael. With me is my co-caster Katips. He's gonna represent the perspective from the Philippines, and we have also Beyond. Beyond's the one that's below Katips, and that's the captain of ManaSurge. And right next to him on the left is Crea, and that's King Crea of Southeast Asia so far. And that's it. Welcome, guys. Thank you for being here today.
Hey,
Hi.
thanks
Hi.
for the invitation.
Yeah, alright. We also have WaningMoon, by the way, who I have not met personally before, but he's just such a personality in the Philippines, and it's such an honor to have him here as well. How you doing, man, WaningMoon?
Hey. Yeah, hello.
Cool story. Hi. I just heard you won Imperium. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
Right. So,
Yeah, no. Go ahead.
all right. Today's objective here is to try and showcase a little bit of the Southeast Asian meta, and to talk a little bit about what we think is going to happen here as well. There's also a international, or rather a regional league going on, that's EHL, and maybe we can share some insights there. Now, first things first, I think it's pretty good to talk to Beyond and ask how he feels after losing in his group, and if there is any inclinations there to understanding the current meta as to whether it's a deck list problem or stuff like that. So Beyond, what do you think?
I don't really think it's much of a deck list problem. It's just, I guess it was just a combination of like bad plays and bad RNG.
Yeah, your draws were really bad in some of the hands there, and
Yeah.
that's it. I think WaningMoon, do you actually follow EHL?
I joined, but I think I missed the end. There have been two legs, right? I missed both.
Yeah, you didn't. I didn't see a submission anywhere. I was like, hey, where's this top
Yeah.
DH guy, man? He's like disappearing, and Katips went, oh, like yeah, he actually just come by for the tournament, and he went back to his own mountain there, and
I was telling them, WaningMoon, that you're like the master in the mountain, that you just show up in a tournament and just just destroy everybody, and then go and leave us scratching our heads and wondering how to beat you.
Actually, if I had known earlier about the HL, like, I definitely would join. I mean, it's the Imperium one that I was really focused on.
which you won. That's great. So I guess being focused is great here. And speaking about winning, Crea also won Cycle 1. So Crea, how do you find the level of difference in terms of gameplay between Cycle 1 and Cycle 2 so far?
Actually, there's much of a difference because Cycle 2 was with the pre-nerf of King Master and Netpacker, so you don't actually see them around. Rather, you will see a lot of aggros going around at like the Zoo Warlock. With the Shield Barrier coming out, there's a lot of different variation of aggros and stuff. Controls are having a hard time dealing with that 0-4 bullshit. So I'm expecting to see much more aggro now as compared to last time, more control.
I see. So more control decks are having a little bit of better time because of King Master nerf there. And that's it. I realized that so far Druid deck is not doing very well in Cycle 2, specifically of EHL. And is this really because King Master is gone, Druid is no longer playable?
Yes, because Druid has no direct removal. Even if he has a direct move, which is called Neutralize, it leaves a big disadvantage, giving an opponent two card draws. And Druid has no answers towards Legendary that are below 8 damage, which there's nothing you can do to it apart from Ragnaros, which you use Big Hunters to kill it. So obviously the better choice of control decks will be going to Shamans, Handlocks, and Control Warriors, which are on rampant right now.
I see. Okay, that's interesting. Katips, is it the same thing at Imperium there where you don't see Druid as often anymore?
We didn't see very many druids that got far for Imperium. I don't know, in the upper levels, WaningMoon, did you Did you match any druids going up to the grand finals?
Yeah, Cold Snap had a good druid. He had
Right.
it was the old watch style with a Spellbreaker and Knight and Cairn, and it was pretty good. I think even without he managed to beat Manlock once with that. So I think it was pretty good.
I actually know there's some secret tech in that druid deck from Cold Snap. He brought 2 Savage Roars and
Okay.
one of the trees card. So he was using the second Savage Roars with some of his removal. So if he had 2 to 3 creatures on board, he'd use the first Savage Roar to bust through whatever walls, because now that Tinkmaster's gone, it's not as easy to bust through all the walls. There's not many removals, as Bjorn said. So that's his way of dealing with it with Druid. And I also ran into a token Druid actually in the earlier rounds. So that one was also making use of Savage Roar and Mark of the Wild to bust through stuff.
So specifically saying Druid now is not having a very good time, and the chances of a Druid up against a Warlock, it's just probably not going to be as high as before.
Yeah, because that lack of the Kingmaster just kind of nerfed it a lot. Because now they lack that very, very important option to remove for the big setties. It may not be a legendary, but they just have a hard time removing like high toughness minions now.
Alright, I understand that. Oh, that's great. And that means also that Druid is at the moment a little bit unplayable, and with the absence of Druid, what do you think is the up and coming, decks that's going to be used? We do see quite a fair bit of Control Warrior, which kind of got popularized by Lemniscate in the first cycle, but a lot of different variations coming in here, and generally they are just shining through a little bit better than Warlock as well. But Warlock is also on the rise, and I don't really see much of Murloc deck recently. Not like the Tough Cookie tournament that we had about 1 or 2 months back, but
Yeah.
there is not much of a Murloc, but there's still the Handlock option available, and there's also the Zoo deck. So how does this Zoo deck come into this meta right now?
Actually, the Zoo deck was first inspired and created by Reynard. So basically, he made use of a lot of value features to try and play board control rather than the typical Murloc deck where you just you pray hard for a very good hand and you just win the game from there. Nor it's a type of Warlock where you just go for face and you just ignore the board. So it's a very board control heavy deck, which is very efficient because you can trade very well, you get the board presence, and then you just make use of all the very important cards like Shield Bearer and Doomguard to protect your minions while you just maintain the board control and you just keep hitting the opponent in the face. And the good thing is that because it's a Warlock class, you can sort of tap every turn to just generate your hand advantage so that you don't lose out in the end, even if you do get board wiped.
I see.
That's also the main difference between Zoo and Reynard's old warrior aggro, because if you run out of cards as the warrior, you're kind of stuck. At least with Zoo, you still have the hero power to keep on drawing cards into, even if you have no play that turn, you're still putting yourself in not at a full disadvantage. Not like warrior where you spend 2 cards to remove one big creature. You're kind of stuck because you can't bust through anything and you have no way of drawing.
Yeah, I mean, the Zoo deck is a rather budget deck. There isn't a lot of epic and legendary involved. In fact, you can choose not to have any epics and legendary involved. So because of that, many players start to pick up playing the deck. I've tried to pick it up myself. Yeah, still not the best at it because it does take a little bit of time to master the deck, especially having to learn how to not overcommit, but at the same time trying to build up the tempo so that if you do ever get board wiped, you are able to still recover. So like the whole idea of the deck is just to like get board control and slowly chip off your opponent's life while you still maintain the hand and just slowly win the game from there.
I see. And that said, I would like to hear from WaningMoon, because I hear he is a fantastic Warlock player, especially the Handlock. Other than the Handlock that you play, have you ever considered the Zoo variation or maybe even the Murloc one? or the good old aggro warlock that I think you run with the Leroy Jenkins and Power Overwhelming? Was it the one?
How do you know? Have you?
I've been informed.
There are spies.
Yeah, they are. No, okay, there's just
Yeah.
been word of your play, and it's just pretty good that you won offline event twice in a row. So far in SG Singapore, we don't see a winner winning 2 tournaments, and I think I say
Right.
ever since the scene started back in December, for a local tournament as in the offline event, and also maybe because we don't have that much of an opportunity to do offline events. But yeah, other than that, definitely want to hear your insights in terms of Warlock.
Well, I've tried all the different warlocks. Like in season 2, I think I got the legend with Murloc deck.
Basically.
Oh wait, not season 2. Season 3. Season 3. Sorry. Season 2 I used Druid. I only started playing Handlock last season. And yeah, the version I use is like I took out the second Soulfire for second Power Overwhelming instead, because it was actually my friend's idea. I was practicing with him and he beat me with that version because he has like a Leroy and a Faceless Manipulator. So on turn 10 he does this sick combo with Leroy, Power Overwhelming and Faceless for like 20 damage. So that was a really strong finisher, and I think the extra burst really helps in Handlock versus Handlock. Like, well, there's so many matchups where the burst helps, so that's the version of Handlock I've been using.
I see, the one with the extra burst potential.
Yeah, and one less Soulfire because instead of the Soulfire, you can just use Power Overwhelming because it combos with Shadow Flame, and it synergizes with the Faceless, and I don't know, and I didn't like the having to discard cards all the time with Soulfire either.
So is that right to say that your variation is your version of the handlock is the one that we have a lot of extra aggro? It's like the good old school handlock, rather than the aggro warlock, rather than the giants one that we see today.
No. What do you mean?
Like, do you run
The-
molten giants in the deck as well?
Yeah,
or-
it's basically a handlock, but
Okay.
with with 2 Power Overwhelmings and only 1
Ah.
Soulfire.
I see.
I still have
Okay.
Jiraxxus and everything. It's pretty
Wayne,
standard.
do you run? Do you still run Twilight Drake?
2 Twilights, 2 Arguses.
Because I've noticed, like, I was reading through some of the recent champion stuff, and some of them are choosing not to run Drakes. They're actually let me pull that up. Which one they were using? So the person I'm talking about is Tom Martell. He took out both of his Drakes and he put in Black Knight and Ragnaros instead. So that's another variation of it.
Yeah, there's so many different variations, man. There's like Gabe Walls uses Crazed Alchemist, and there are people who use
Gabe Balls also uses Sylvanas still. Actually.
yeah, and he uses Harrison Jones, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've never really experimented with the other kinds. I just the handlock I'm using is what I'm used to from laddering. It's what I used to get legend this season. So, I mean,
Speaking about laddering, is the meta in tournaments very different from the one that you see on ladder? It's a generic question. You don't have to answer.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
different. Mhm.
Yeah, because in tournaments you've got people from all ranks, and every rank is like a different meta. You can't just use the best decks at the rank you're at and expect them to do well in a tournament, because everybody's going to be using everybody's gonna be using really, really different, really varied lists.
Like in my match, the guy had ooze in every one of his decks, and I was running
Yeah.
mid-range hunter, and I was running shaman, and then he kept it in his hand all game, and then the moment I used either of my weapons, I wasn't expecting ooze because nobody uses ooze anymore on the ladder. Everybody's just copying the latest zoo. Everybody's just copying whatever the latest aggro is, and then you see stuff like that. People starting to prepare ooze, or it just throws you off.
Yeah. It's always rock paper scissors, I think, with the decks.
Like, I guess for like LAN tournaments or normal tournaments, it's just very different from laddering, because in ladders they tend to scale towards a certain deck, and then you can, based on the percentage, just pick a deck that is more favorable. Whereas when you come to tournaments, like if we ever say like we play a best of 3 format, then it's more about strategizing on what kind of decks do you want to open with, and if there is a counter strat to counter the decks that like fit your previous decks and stuff like that. So it's a lot more planning, and I think like the battle like begins the moment you sit down and even like look through the 3 decks and decide what you want to open first. Because I mean, if that is if you have information about your opponent, so that you know you can try and like predict or counter predict on like what to open first with their advantage. Because I guess winning the first game is always very, very important. It really gives you the edge. I've learned that the hard way. Like back in HAT, I part in the tournament, and I just went in with 3 decks that I thought were the top 3 decks in the ladder. And it turns out that it was a very bad idea, because I went in with like 3 control decks, and then I was suffering a lot with aggro decks, and there were times that I was wishing that I had an aggro deck so that I could race along with the opponent, because I know that most of my control decks might not be able to take the heat and the speed of the aggro decks. So from there,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so from there I did learn the hard way, like, you know, what you use, whatever decks you use to ladder in rank is, it may not be
Hello, can you hear me? Bijon?
Yeah.
I think microphone having issues.
I think
Earth to
Alakir
Beyond.
showed up on Bjorn's side.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all can't hear me?
Yeah, you just
Cut off
like
for a while.
halfway. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You had Wind Fury. Just all of it. Your
Basically,
voice is going to win.
Basically, I think the cycle 2 will, the better players will be much more obvious. They will bring the current meta decks, and people who actually do well with them is going to sit through the grand finals or the finals. The rest of the players that just copy the decks and do not have a deep understanding of the decks will not be able to get through there, because the control warriors, the mid-tier control hunters, and the handlocks are not decks which you just throw cards and face the opponent. You require thinking, because each step it opens to another step, and these are the things that will actually cost you your game.
Today I was reading about this guy who was saying, he's been practicing, he has 100 games of handlock under his belt, and then he runs into all sorts of aggro and zoo in the ladder, and then the moment he decides, okay, I'm gonna start playing some shaman, and then he faces 5 hunters in a row. So there's also that the luck factor. And I forgot, I think it was Bjorn who said that your first win is actually the most crucial one, because in this format, the 3 decks with the BlizzCon Invitational format, whoever wins first can react with 2 more decks but your opponent doesn't have any more options. He can't counter whatever you have left. So you have the choice of your last 2 decks to try and counter. So if you bring pretty stable, pretty neutral decks that can do, like Warrior Control is a good example. Warrior Control can stop aggro in its tracks with so many removal, and then if you open with that and then you win with that, it's also good. It's like Warrior Control is pretty strong against everything. Handlock is pretty strong, is decent against most matchups. So if you win that crucial first game, you could steamroll the rest of the match.
That actually depends. That's why the experienced players would always normally give 2 controls and 1 aggro to actually to react to this kind of situation. Look, the more average kind of players would try to cheese 3 aggros and stuff like that. So when it comes to after the group stage, these are the players you should actually look out for how the way they play. From there, actually, you can see whether your opponent is it up to standard. I mean, this is what I get after playing much ladder and I'm practicing with players with WaningMoon and such. So actually, I am not expecting much of a change for quite a while since they won't be changing any effects of the card soon. You're gonna see Zoo running rampant for the next month or 2, I guess, unless they do something about it, probably.
Would there be anything that is like a hard counter towards the Zoo, but it's pretty okay with the warrior deck?
The hard counters of Zoo is not. I don't think there's really any hard counter due to the fact that there's not much removal that's able to do 4 damage within the cost of 1 to 4 range. Even if there is like a Druid, you're using Druid, right? The only removal to do 4 damage at 4 cost is swipe, and if you have to swipe a shield barrel, you're gonna be dead, man. You're gonna be dead. You less 1 important removal. It's so much value for the Zoo deck and so much undervalue for you. When you are doing that, you're most likely gonna lose the game.
What about stuff like the Hunter's Mark? That is that's something that you can consider.
Or Shaman.
Shaman
Control
is actually
Shaman.
a good answer, but Shaman is more reliant on draw. Hunter's Mark, I don't think anyone will use that for.
I don't think Hunter is that favorable because they tend to go for face, and once the Warlock managed to put up the taunts, then you kind of stop them in the track, and then they have to waste time trading their minions to your minions, which may or may not die. So it's pretty unfavorable for the Hunters, especially unless like the Zoo player sort of screws it up by over-committing to the board, and then you start playing the Unleash the Hound combos with the Timberwolves to like suddenly just burst through. But other than that, if the Zoo player is smart enough to just tempo off and just keep like 2-3 minions on the board at all times, I think they can hold off pretty well.
It's just like the good old Nat Pagel problem where it's a 0-4, except this one's got a taunt. I guess the chat is telling me right now that there are some other options like a Blood Knight that's way crazy because that's a Lura, and we have also Chris Alchemist coming in as well, so that's pretty good stuff. But I want to ask WaningMoon. WaningMoon, have you met any Zoo deck in Imperium, the tournament there?
Yeah, actually in the finals,
Lemniscape.
It's using Zoo.
And how do you find that deck, and how do you counter it using your aggro handlock? Or your hand.
Yeah, it's not really an aggro handlock.
Yeah, it's
but
not.
yeah,
Sorry, my bad.
I think handlock does pretty well against it. I think of the 3 decks that I brought Shaman, Control Warrior, and handlock. I think I would pick handlock if out of those 3 to counter Zoo. I mean, Warrior seems like 50-50. Shaman maybe even slightly less than 50-50. With handlock, you can mulligan really hard for Molten Giants, and then there's like nothing that the Zoo player can do against it.
Especially
Also,
on Giants.
Yeah. Also, Hellfire. Hellfire is amazing.
Yep.
I actually have a positive record against Zoo, I think, with my handlock.
Oh, okay. Positive record. And Crea, how would you counter the Zoo then? Expecting, because since you say it's gonna stay for about 1 to 2 months, I'm expecting someone who is gonna meet you in the season finale of EHL to bring a Zoo deck. You got any? Maybe don't say your deck, straight out secret, but what do you think is a pretty good counter in that situation if you're forced to fight a Zoo deck?
Like WaningMoon said, handlock is definitely one of them. And classes which has early AoE which don't rely much on RNG, because you need those 2 to 3 damage to actually go through the shield barrier to decimate his minions. Then he will not have any chance, because right now the shield barrier is preventing you from destroying his minions, which is a very big advantage for them because they are throwing low cost unit and they're going to flood the field. If you can't clear them within a turn or 2, you're gonna die. So you need heavy AoE stuff.
I see. So your answer is also going to be the handlock.
One of them, yes, probably Shaman, but Shaman is more hand dependent because they do not have life tap like Warlocks.
Ah, okay, interesting.
And I actually died against the zoo in my match. You're spending all game waiting for Lightning Storm to get drawn. So if you don't have it in your opening hand, you're just hoping that you get the spell totem and you also get Lightning Storm just to get out of the initial rush.
And Pyromancers.
Pyromancers, yes, that's one of the answers. Yeah.
What about Pyromancer in a Paladin deck? You know, the Equality Pyromancer combo. That's definitely going to be able to hurt the Zoo a lot, because Zoo, you just throw cards like nobody's business. You play them very enthusiastically, and you kind of empty your hand so that you don't have to face the penalty of discarding when you have the Doomguard.
No, the problem is it takes too much mana at 6 mana cost. By then, if he has a field within the second turn or third turn, you probably will be down to 10 health, 10 off, around there.
Yeah.
So by then you are actually screwed. You got no answer for it. Even by then, if you manage to clear, you probably, let's just say the best case scenario, you have about 15 HP. At that mana, he has the option to drop a Doomguard, which still give you problems. You're gonna have a big problem dealing with Doomguard.
Yeah, your only saving grace is if you probably play like Koyuki Giants and then you go low, you drop down a Giant, you taunt it up, and then you try and recover from there. But all these are pretty hand reliant, so it's not very consistent.
I see. So enough to say that no one so far has coined out a very consistent counter other than the handlock being one of the more viable options.
I mean, if you're talking for like
not that too, yeah.
Like, if you're talking about like just default decks that can handle pretty well, I guess the handlock is still the best option, but I feel that other classes can do well if you specially tailor against it, but which is not wise, especially on both ladders and tournaments. Unless the tournament might be fine, like, I will be like, okay, I'm going to specially fine-tune this deck just to go against Zoo, but then that just means that you are kind of like restricting yourself. So
yeah,
yes,
it's not
I actually fought against a priest once when I was testing Zoo out when it was new. I fought against a priest who 3-1'd me in practice against Zoo. I was blown away because I had this notion in my head that priest was the worst class you could pick against Zoo. And this guy, he was running like an aggro priest. He had Shattered Sun Clerics and Cabal and 2 Cabal Shadow Priests.
Oh.
So yeah, if you really want to counter Zoo, it's easy. It doesn't matter what class you're using, but then you're not. It makes your deck weaker against everything else. So yeah, that guy, he was actually a previous Mana Grind winner. I think his name was Confused. Well, I added them on the ladder, and then he told me about that.
I see. Alright, there is some, I think someone in chat did say something about that Rogue right now. Do you think Rogue is a viable option?
I think Rogue isn't that bad. He has a decent chance, maybe 50-50. Because if you have the correct draws, it actually is quite devastating to Zoo, because you don't have to hit the shield bearer. Whatever they do is by combos which deal direct damage to a certain card. So these are actually good cards to deal with Zoo. However, if I think they do not have certain draws, they are still prone to defeat easily. Like how the Season 1 aggro Warlock triumphs almost everything.
I see. Okay, great. And I'm getting word that Machtung is installing Uvu. Is coming in?
Yeah,
It's a part of
just. You can. I'm sending you his Uvu ID, and we can put him in webcam.
Awesome. I'm actually gonna have to edit the overlay first. But yeah, that's it. Also, other than the Zoo deck being one of the more popular decks nowadays, and the other deck that I know is very strong is the Control Warrior, and that is something that it has been going on for a while. But right now, because of Think Master's nerf, it's actually very strong. And with that, isn't a Warrior deck or deck's biggest weakness, the draw mechanic, or rather the lack of it? And anyone here finds that the Control Warrior is a very strong deck, or something that is virtually unstoppable like the Zoo deck, or rather need something niche to counter it?
You need to have a heavy early aggro to deal with Control Warrior. If you transit past the mid game after turn 4, you are most likely dead, because the cards that throw you will have little answers to the card later on. And drawing cards and removing cards are one of the actually good traits of the Control Warrior right now, due to the fact that they utilize many cards to draw. With the removal of Think Masters, the late game right now probably the strongest is the Control Warrior, which every turn they will just chunk out a legendary if they are able to draw it, like the turn 6 Ruin Runner, turn 7 Baron Hidden, maybe 8 you throw Ragnaros, 9 you have a Ysera, you have a Alexstrasza, things like that. There's no way for you to stop it. And they gain shield by drawing cards, the shield block, the shield slam. These are low cost removers, excellent removers for them. Something you should ask WaningMoon. I think he's quite familiar with Control Warrior as well.
Yeah.
And Waning, don't you use Wild Pyro in your Warrior deck also?
No.
Oh no, that was the handlock. Okay.
I use 2 Senjins. I used to play Chill Winds and then...
Senjin is quite good against aggressive matchups. Like I also transited from Yetis to Senjin just to have a extra taunt.
Just because of all the aggro.
Yeah. But it's pretty useful in the mirror too, because sometimes you just have that taunt to prevent an OTK for one turn, just to turn the tide.
I talked to a lot of players actually about that, and a lot of them don't agree with having 4 drops. I mean, they think the Warrior should be all removal, all stall, and then a bunch of late game legendaries. But I think it's just, if you do add the 4 drops, it makes it less of a control deck, more of a mid-range, closer to mid-range than it normally is. And then, although that makes you weaker against other control decks, it makes you slightly safer against aggro, so it's just a trade-off.
Yeah, that's actually true. Because they rely on the cost 1 to 3 to handle the early aggression, and then 5 onwards to deal with the late game controls. The late game.
I guess the magic turning point is actually the transition from 5 to 6, especially when you can brawl turn 5 and then they don't have a play, and then you throw a legendary on turn 6. That's usually the magical moment where you turn the momentum in your favor.
Right, I'm actually adding machtung over, and I'm actually gonna have to switch the screens around a little bit. So in case you guys are wondering what's happening and why is the screen black, yeah, doing a bit of reconfiguration as we speak. Should be okay. But
Okay.
Let me add him into chat, into the Skype conversation. So do you guys think that there's any other upcoming deck types that are still coming out in the next few months, or do you think we're kind of set as far as the meta goes, and then with just slight changes, like people changing from Chillwind to Tazdingo, or people trying to adjust the loss of Tinkmaster? Do you think we're still going to be seeing any major shifts? Like, do you see any underplayed classes that you think might have a chance in tournament scenes?
It really depends on the next patch. If they're not going to do anything to it, we're going to see a stalemate for the next few months.
Yeah, like because Tinkmaster is gone, so now you either go really aggressive or you go really control. Even the idea of using mid range might not be such a good idea, because like you just lack that Think Master to remove the late game stuff, but at the same time you're not that fantastic against the aggro deck. So you have to go like either way of the spectrum. You have to either go really aggressive or you have to go control.
Should Waning Moon, well, Waning Moon is really active in meta.
Yeah, like even like the recent tournaments like Seed Story and whatnot, you can tell that the commonly few top pick classes are classes like obviously the Warlock, Druids, Shaman, and Warrior. Or did I mention Warrior twice?
Did you see Nimsh Zoo deck? Trump was actually playing with it on the ladder recently, but he has a different take on the Zoo. He has Abusive Sergeant, he has Amani Berserker. Those are his kind of early game. It's much more aggressive than the normal normal Zoo.
Yeah, I was actually playing somewhat similar to Nim's deck list during EHL. So you drop down the curve. So you don't have Argent Commanders anymore. You take out Scarlet Crusaders to replace with Amani Berserkers. You throw in a couple more 1-drops. All to play safe against, especially the mirror matchup. Now some people they just throw in the Blood Knight just to counter against Zoo. And Blood Knight is just insane, especially when you like take off the Divine Shield in a mirror match. So usually like it's either the Blood Knight or the Soul Fire or a timely Soul Fire is what kind of make or break in a Zoo mirror match, if you ask me.
Alright, by the way, why is Machtung's camera like?
I don't know. See, it's just the corner of the face.
Oh, wow. I'm seeing like half of you.
Half of it.
Is that your stylistic choice to just show half of your face?
I don't know.
Are you trying to be kind of mysterious?
I cannot even see you right now. It's like I'm facing the wall when
Yes.
I'm looking
Yeah,
at your
it's kind
screen.
of weird. Alright. Hey, just a quick question. We're like talking on Skype, but just video for Uvo? Is that how?
Yeah, that's right. That's how it is. So we're talking on
alright.
Skype. You can mute whatever is happening on the other
Got it.
site, on the webcam site, because that's just good quality webcam that I hope doesn't disconnect. But yeah.
Alright.
Anyway, so yeah, welcome here. Welcome and glad to see you here, Machtung. And you are definitely one of the qualified players for the playoff. How are you feeling about that?
I feel like I won that on the back of sheer pure luck, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, but that was just luck, man.
Oh well, you made it through, so just like take full use of the opportunity and just go kick some more asses in the future.
I think that's great.
No,
Anyway, we were just discussing about the zoo, right? The different variation of that.
Okay.
And you have any take on the zoo?
It's funny, but it really reminds me of the season 1 decks. You know, when everyone was still using the pre-nerf clerics, pre-nerf defender of Argus. It's like back to basics. Just using stats, tempo, not a lot of special effects. And it almost feels like low-end arena. That's my take on it. So it's tried and tested. It's very basic, and yeah, it works. I don't like it, but it works.
Yeah.
I see.
So
Zoo is a very strong thing indeed. But
Okay.
well, just like what Katips is asking just now, I did recall while I was fixing the camera and stuff like that he did say if this is the meta that's gonna be still here, and Crea thinks it's gonna be still. Bhutan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Zoo will be here to stay for a very, very long time. As long as I don't know, I still think like one of the most irritating cards in the Zoo deck is like the Shield Bearer. Like a turn 1 Shield Bearer is just it's worse than Net
0-4.
Pagel. Yeah,
It's-
in the past when Net Pagel was 0-4 on turn 2 and you get to draw it off immediately at the end of the turn, it was so annoying cause like if you're on the play, you probably have to take 2 turns to remove it.
It's so annoying that if you're playing Warlock also, you're really considering, do I play Soulfire now just to
Yeah,
get the annoy factor out of your head? It's annoying.
yeah.
What about
it's-
Shadow Bolt and stuff like that? instant answer, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's 3 costs for the 1 cost.
Yeah, it's so bad.
I feel that the shield bearer stats is just too good right now. I mean, for 1 cost, you get a total stats of 4 and a taunt. It's just it just sounds pretty unbalanced. I mean, cause usually the golden rule is like your mana cost is equivalent to like, I mean, whatever power that is considered fair and balanced is like the total stats times 2 of the mana cost, and shield bearer is really defying that already.
Oh, machtung comes out, spooks everyone again.
Sorry, I'm trying to fix my camera.
Yeah, it's
while you
okay.
guys
It's
are
cool.
talking.
It's great.
So I think the zoo will be there to stay. Like one of the very decisive factor that is in there is because of the shield bearer. The other cards are pretty okay. I mean, you can't really go and nerf them just because like it's being played in the zoo, and yeah, so
Alright.
I'm not very sure if there's any other overpowered cards in the zoo right now. I mean, what do the rest of the guys think?
What do you think about Face Hunter right now? Because Face Hunter against Shaman is still... Oh wow, if I'm playing Shaman and I see a Hunter, I'm already kind of annoyed just to start. Because if it's a Face Hunter, it's really hard for a Shaman to come back. And yet Shaman is so good against everybody else. So what do you think about Face Hunter? Do you think it's like getting out of popularity? People are moving better to the mid-range?
I think the Face Hunter is just dropping in popularity simply because the zoo deck is just very prominent right now. And
cheaper.
Yeah, and cheaper.
Dirt cheap to build a zoo deck.
Well, like last Thursday, I think. Well, when I was laddering, trying to get legend, there was a time when I think more than half my games were against Hunter. So
Oh, wow.
I don't think it's gone out of popularity. I mean, I think it just cycles. There's a time when everybody's playing decks that are safe against Hunter. Then Hunter dies a little. Then when everyone starts playing greedy again, Hunter comes back. I don't think it'll ever go away.
Like maybe as you proceed higher into the level, you see lesser zoo and all of these hunters come out because people expect to see more handlock rather than the zoo and stuff like that.
How do you guys feel about the mid-range Hunter? Because I'm actually
like
playing. I really like mid-range Hunter right now because the Savannah line is just so good. There's no way to Savannah High Main is so. If you remove it, you have some fodder that are actually beasts still, so they work with Timberwolf, and if you put a taunt on it, it's really annoying. As a 6/5, it can take out a lot of big threats.
Yeah, it's basically a current, right?
Yeah.
It's like having 2 currents in your deck.
Yeah, and
Actually,
crazy.
that card itself is not so overpowered. It's what is the combo that made Hunter damn strong. Like the traps and stuff, it's just bullshit, man. I mean, when you see he put a trap, you will know it's either a flame, a freezing, or the misdirection. However, these are the things that actually cost you your game. The way they protect their units and the way they offset with the charges and direct face damage is just bullshit at the moment.
Okay.
So can we say that you're not a big fan of Hunters?
No, I think
Oh.
he hates it.
Damn the dogs.
Them the
I
dogs.
think that's a pretty strong no.
The dogs are bullshit.
I think machtung has something to say. Let's go, machtung.
Yo,
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that well, my personal problem with the mid-range Hunter is, well, it's the same reason why the other mid-range decks are having difficulty now. Like Druid's fallen out of favor because you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do you strengthen your matchup against Face Hunter and Zoo, but then you weaken yourself against late game guys, or do you go more control and then you get eaten alive by the aggro? So it's because of that particular thing that I feel that Face Hunter is more popular, because the best way to protect yourself from the division of the meta is to just be all the way on one side, like you guys said. So I don't really have anything against the mid-range Hunter. It's just that if I were to play Hunter, why wouldn't you just play Face? Those are my thoughts anyway.
Hmm.
I mean, what do
think-
you guys think about that? Like, if you had a choice, like if you had, let's say you had we're playing a special tournament where you have to play Hunter, and that's it. Or let's say it's a 3 deck kill all, and one of those decks has to be a Hunter. Go with a would you go with a mid-range Hunter aggro Druid, or would you go with a mid-range Druid aggro Hunter
I think
kind of
it's
approach?
I think it's fair to say that generally the hunter mid range is kind of like a little bit ambitious. You're trying to play a mid range deck in a class that isn't really suited for mid range. There are a lot of classes that have a lot more to offer in terms of the mid range as compared to the hunter. Hunter is strong, don't get me wrong, but it's not the best mid range deck. And of course, by far, we do agree hunter is one of the best early aggro decks. So I guess if you want to
Right.
maximize the slot of the hunter, I would opt for the aggro hunter personally. Because I'm just such an aggressive player. I don't have any control deck. I hate playing slow. So if you take 10 minutes against me, I'll probably rage quit. And yeah, that's just me. But what do the pros think? Like what does WaningMoon think?
I've never actually tried the mid-range hunter, so yeah, I don't know. I fought it a few times. Like a few days ago, I think Savage was using it,
Mhm.
and at that time I was using aggro hunter, so I was really sick of fighting handlocks and shamans. I was 1 star away from legend, and then yeah, aggro hunter versus Savage. And like every time I was 1 star away from legend that day, I'd fight Savage and then you'd beat me.
Yeah,
I think
that's the problem. That's the problem with laddering. I mean, you and I are both rank 1 to rank 3 players often. You always get to meet them, and then they just pounce you with some new deck, and then you get smashed, and bye bye. Say bye bye to legend, man.
yeah.
But you eventually get there. That's the thing. So I'm thinking the WaningMoon is not. He doesn't have a clear stand when it comes to the hunter debate. And
No,
Beyond.
I never tried it.
All right, Beyond.
Um,
What do you think?
Well, I've played Hunter for quite a bit. There's of course the Face Hunter where you just go for Face as a mid-range one. There used to be one more very cheesy Hunter deck where it's I don't know, some people call it the kiting deck. So all you do is you place a lot of traps to irritate the opponent while you poke them and just keep hero powering and whatnot. But
Is
it's
this the one
soon.
with Doomsayer?
Pardon?
Is this the one that also carries Doomsayer sometimes?
Yeah. So you just
Oh yeah, that one.
and fighting. But it wasn't very good deck, and people realized that instead of putting things to protect yourself while you kite and poke 2 damage every turn, why not just smash everything in their face?
No,
So
the,
I'm quite favorable for the aggressive hunter decks. Recently there are also people who are making use of snake traps now.
Oh
So yeah, but I mean
Irritating
once
as hell, man.
you catch on to it, it's fine because
Starving Buzzard and Trap. I wonder what it could be.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
so
Buzzard.
Not
obvious.
misdirection, I think.
I mean, come on. You see a knife chuck, you see Starving Buzzard, the next thing you know, he puts up a secret.
Yeah. the problem with Hunter is even though you know that what's coming, you can't stop it. You can't have an answer to it. You can't stop
Yeah.
it. You understand what I'm saying?
I guess Snake
That's
Trap
the
is the one you
problem.
can stop, but
Yes.
the rest, no.
Yes, that's the
Unless-
problem with Hunter right now. Then they have a direct answer to it. Even if you have Thorn on the field, they can just use the hero power and shoot you until you die. Then you think you're safe, you got like 15 HP, and suddenly he throw a dog out and then he just bite you twice and then suddenly you're dead. You know? That kind of shit.
12 damage for what? 8? Oh, is it 8 mana?
Yeah, man,
damage?
it's just it. It's just
With
like,
everything, with a full board, you can just take 12 damage, double bite, and that's it.
yeah, and then you just say bye bye. It's like a bloody 2 Leroy on your face, man. And
So,
then
I guess Crea is not a fan of the
Yeah, I think we've
Hunter
established
at all.
that Korea.
Let's just not talk about Hunter to Crea because he
No,
just hates
I
them
just
doggies.
think it's quite cheap, and
Quite cheap.
the aggro hunter was not that bad, but the control hunter is really bad. I mean, now that they are inventing new stuff, and like you said, the Savannah Hymen is a Karen, okay? Things like this is gonna change a lot of things if most of them plays the control hunter because of no direct remove, like I said, no Ting Master and all. So you give it a taunt, you have no choice, you gotta kill it. And once you kill it, it spawns to Hyena, and suddenly he throws like Dog Out, and then his Timberwolf, and then suddenly you're dead again. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, we all know too well how that's actually going to work out. But speaking about aggro deck, the Murlocs are missing in action. This is because of the Zoo deck, I assume, because the Zoo deck just kind of kicked them out all of the way.
Yeah.
And my theory is new players, especially since we're live already with Hearthstone,
Yeah.
they can't afford to craft the epic Murlocs yet. So they see, oh, everybody's playing this cheap Warlock deck, why not, I'll just go with that one. Value Shield Bearer.
I think both decks are still good. It's just a matter of preferences.
I think Lemny's kid is home, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, he was fighting with his ISP, he said it just came back.
Actually,
Murloc deck is pretty draw reliant, and it's pretty draw reliant if you ask me for the Murloc. And it's harder to play compared to the Zoo. But yeah, Murloc decks are able to take down Zoo decks too.
What do you guys think of the other aggro decks? Because there's this Paladin variant, the Trucks aggro. I don't know if you've seen that one. And then its main removal is it has one Avenging Wrath, and then it has double Equality, double Consecrate, and then it has just the cheap Paladin stuff. There's also DKMR's new/old Warlock aggro, where it uses a Dark Iron Dwarf still and uses the the value neutrals. Do you think those stand a chance against Zoo or Face Hunter, or do you think they're just passing trends and people are just latching onto something they like in it?
No, definitely no chance, due to the fact that Paladin has issue with drawing cards. No chance.
No chance.
Zero.
You can't even Divine Favor against an aggressive deck because there's just no cards in their hand for you to Divine Favor.
True that, but okay, the thing is that I read on Gosu Gamer that there's this new concept of I don't know, playing King Mukla and you play Divine Favor after that. Still, I agree that Paladin has got a huge draw problem. Oh, here comes machtung. Finally, with HD.
I got the camera work.
It's lagging badly, bro. Just saying.
Ah, shit.
You look like a stone giant right now, bro. Stone giant machtung.
Yes. Oh, I think you should turn off your HD option so it's faster.
It's lagging
Yeah,
because.
Hey, stone giant, bro. How are you, stone giant, bro?
Yeah, much better. There we go. All right, you're still 1/4 of the screen off, by the way.
Ah. By the time I get this thing working, the passion's over.
Whoa. Easy.
He's angry. He's angry.
We have your eyes zoomed in. Okay, that's better.
Oh yeah, all right. Okay, just let me just do it so passion do it.
All right.
Great stuff.
Okay,
So, aggro deck. The discussion here is other than the boring Zoo deck, the boring Hunter deck. Is there any other aggro deck that are viable?
I think the reason Zoo is so strong is like Bjorn and Crea said, the draw mechanic is just so good. He doesn't need any cards to draw cards. He'll never lose tempo. He'll never lose card advantage because he can just use up all of his life and keep on pumping out all the low-cost creatures.
Yeah, actually the Zoo deck kind of reminds me of. Well, I'm not sure if you guys follow Magic the Gathering, but it really resembles the the Black Devotion decks where they just keep sacrificing their life to draw a lot of cards and they just keep putting threats on the board to just constantly have the threat. So it's very similar. I could relate to it very well.
I do believe we might see a change of a legendary use like Hogger. Maybe people might introduce Hogger into a Zoo deck because the never-ending taunts plus the stupid Shield Bearer is gonna kick your ass, man.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So take out your Yetis, put in your Tazdingo, and put in a Hogger, and then just start annoying everyone.
Yeah, it starts popping taunt, and soon this is gonna be worse than Unleash the Hound. It's gonna be right at your ass, and you're dead. It's a 2/2.
There was a play of the week recently where it was a rogue deck, and he put, I think, what's the rogue card that puts that stealths your minion?
Conceal,
and then he put it on Hogger, and then the opponent couldn't do anything. He was just a priest. He couldn't draw anything that could stop Hogger.
Guys. I said
Sorry?
like the one. Master Disguise, the one that doesn't go away, because Conceal
Yeah,
just
yeah.
go everywhere, right?
Master of Disguise is crazy, man. That's permanent 2/2 taunt every single turn, unless you get something like bot wipe, crazy stuff. I tried to create a deck with Hogger, and it was rolling on the concept of Knife Juck and some token shit, but it kind of failed badly because I decided to add in Redemption, and Allura kind of laughed at me because of that.
Okay.
You know?
Then you'd end up having a 2/2 token come back.
I mean,
Something like that.
the concept is to try and maximize
Yeah,
the tokens, but it's just crazy. And
So you heard it here first, Hogger meta.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's fun. It's fun. The other thing that could actually try to work with is, I'm not sure if this actually works, but there is this Demolisher. Can you do perma stuff on Demolisher?
It's just an average card, which
No, but
Which
if you
is
make
just-
it invisible,
yeah.
It's a mini
Imagine
rack.
you are playing. This is like a Nate Pager which do 2 damage. Imagine you're just unlucky. Heal for 4 turns. You just heal 8 damage. It's like a free Ragnaros up your ass, man.
so it's still viable, is it? Master Disguise working on the
No.
Demolisher?
I think the conceal goes away. The stealth goes away when the minion does damage.
Oh,
I'm
that's
not
right.
No,
sure.
But
that's
it's
an
not.
ability. I don't think that triggers the stealth unless you.
I've been hearing mixed comments whether it
Right.
works or it doesn't work. But I guess we'll find out, and that's just another thing to play. But speaking of a Master of Disguise here, other than Hogger Master of Disguise combo, is there anything that works very well? Obviously, the Miracle Rogue Gadget Sun Auction is one of that, but Miracle Rogue I think is kind of like a thing of the past, and that's because Pegel is kind of nerfed.
No. Miracle Rogue will still stay. It's bullshit.
No, that thing's gonna stay.
It's gonna stay,
It's gonna stay.
even
That
if Pegel
Pegel-
is signed enough. Nerfed, it's okay.
It's gonna stay.
Yeah. Yeah, just replace it with like a loot hoarder if you wanted to. Because what makes it so strong is that it doesn't matter who you're playing against. You're just playing your own game, and it's them trying to catch up.
Playing your own game.
And
You know,
even better,
you're playing. It's Hearthstone Solitaire. That's what Miracle Rogue is.
Solo, yeah, you're right. Just do your own shit there, and
and even
Don't
more
catch
now. If you have a pretty big Edwin in the early turns and there's no Tinkmaster to stop him anymore, he's just gonna run rampant.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like you go to the toilet and take a shit, trying to shit out that stupid auctioneer, and once you shit out, wow, you're feeling all good, the opponent's dead. The kind of feeling,
So Crea not a fan of the Miracle Rogue either. So.
No, you gotta understand the
Making a
cycle.
list.
The cycle grand finals. He kind of got chopped by Miracle Rogue quite a fair bit there. He won at the very end, but he kind of got chopped quite a fair bit there. And the net matches won were not in his favor. But yeah, that's crazy. Miracle Rogue's here to stay, so that's good. And
You
the
can't
Master
compare the
Disguise.
luck.
I think it's really very luck intensive, Miracle Rogue. I did try and run it myself, but it doesn't work. Because I never get Leroy. So I don't know why people get Leroy instantaneously and 2 Shadow Step at the same time. It's crazy stuff. But other than that, any other decks that you guys can put out here that you think that might actually overtake this meta that's currently very strong with Zudag? Since Crea obviously thinks Zudag is here to stay. What else is here to try and kick off a new form of deck or meta?
What I want. Sorry, go ahead.
I've been seeing token druids a lot lately. I mean,
That's what
I
I'm thinking
think-
about too, winning.
yeah. I think even without King.
Okay, anyway, guys,
because-
I'm looking.
Okay, wait, let's just let WaningMoon talk first because he kind of won a tournament.
Say
He has the right to say whatever he wants.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
then I'm going on mute for the next 30 minutes. Okay. I got knocked out in the first round. I have no right to be here.
The first round out.
Oh, gee, look at the time. I gotta go.
Alright, let's
Go ahead.
just
Go
listen
ahead,
to
Manny.
WaningMoon first. Let's go.
Well, I mean, you said that with the Thinkmaster nerf, the druids might have a hard time now, right?
Yeah.
But the token druids have never really run Thinkmaster in the first place. I mean, they rely on the combo and a lot of burst damage. So I don't think they were. So of all the kinds of druids, I think they were least affected, and they were already very strong. I think they're an even better counter to hunters than warriors are, at least in my tests. And you can
Yeah.
pretty much beat. Yeah, they can beat handlocks too. So Token
I know what you mean, because I'm also thinking of playing a token druid. I was actually running through my head and I saw a few, and I think the best available druid deck apart from the conventional is going to be the token, due to people running two savage raw, and when they run tokens you are forced to clear the board, and if you don't, you are just likely to take 10 over damage in just a turn with like 3 cost.
yeah.
It's quite retarded.
So actually, I wanted to get your opinions, everybody's opinion. So do you think token? Before I go into the next thing, I wanted to the one I just linked you. So right now, do you think token is the savior of druid, like a standard meta druid? Do you think is going to lean towards token to be able to stop most of the threats like zoo and handlock and all of those?
Yeah, why not? Because the 1/1 will turn to 3/1, and practically at 3 cost, if they do go for face, you are able to clear everything he has to offer on the field easily.
So I'm trying to link this deck.
Let me try and put it on the screen here so everyone can have a look at it as well.
Yeah. So basically, I saw this deck the other day on Reddit. This guy was saying he got to legendary on it, and it's able to counter, he said, hand locks. It's able to counter zoo. It's able to counter control warrior, and he says that the main philosophy of the deck is to have a stable curve and to have no reliance on the combo. So you'll notice from this deck, it has no Savage Roar. It has no trees. It has just the base. It packs Starfall. So what do you guys think of that kind of a philosophy? Like a very balanced druid, and then once it hits mid game, once it hits its stride with Starfall in hand, and then Cairn comes out, and then you have Lore come out, and then Ancient of War, which is now pretty strong. It's a pretty viable card now with Tinkmaster not in the way, and then the main finisher being Icera, being really, really annoying without Tinkmaster. So what do you guys think about a deck like this, which is leaning more towards the balance?
Sounds like a season 1 druid.
Yeah, it's season
Yeah,
1
it's
slap.
a season 1 druid with different cards. And honestly, let me tell you, if he doesn't draw a Big Hunter versus going against a handlock, he's still screwed either way. There's no answer for it. Look at his curve. He has a Stone Holder, Swipe, Harvest Golem, Yeti. At turn 4, if he doesn't have a Big Hunter and there's a Stone Giant on field, you are still most likely screwed.
So you think this deck won't have any longevity, like an old school ramp deck with Ragnaros and Icera?
They have longevity during the late game, since that he plays Ancient of War, Ragnaros, and Icera. These are late game counters, and he runs a Faceless Manipulators. So if he can get past the 1 to 5 curve mana phase, he should be fine. But I still can't guarantee that he will still do as well as the Watcher druid as compared,
So Watcher Druid is still the most favorite druid so far, or is it the token druid that is here to stay?
I think the Watcher druid is going to be phased out, and the token druid will definitely come in, because, right, like I said, they have no answer towards certain cards. Like you see, this druid deck, they run Ysera and Ragnaros, Faceless, Karin. You do not have answer to this card, and therefore when you transit to late game, you're gonna be screwed either way. So token is more of an aggro type of druid, which things is gonna be hard to counter. You have to wipe the board to be able to stay alive.
Like looking at this deck, I'm not even sure if it can actually hold off the aggressive decks. Because unlike the Watcher Druid, you are able to set up a taunt early, but whereas for this deck that you featured, I can't see how there's any way that they can even ward off the early aggression, especially from be it the Face Hunter or the Zoo decks. Seems to have quite a bit of problems with that.
Hey,
Alright,
machtung and
nice.
ManaSurge, give your insights, please.
What? Sorry, about what?
Insights on this deck. I mean, you play druid a fair bit.
Oh, I didn't get the link.
Oh, it's on the
It's on Skype.
Let me paste that again.
Yeah, never mind. Machtung, please give your opinion on this. I mean, I don't really know what you expertise in, but I mean, free to give your opinion.
Well, it 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 really, like you guys said, it really looks like season one Druid. Like I'm looking at this list now, and the only difference between this and season one number one legend, I think in China, was it? The only
China.
difference yeah, the China list. The only thing I see different is he is running, or rather, he's running Yetis instead of Senjin.
Yeah.
He's running one Mark of the Wild instead of Naturalize, and he's not. He's running one extra Wild Growth instead of Healing Touch.
So
And
it's
Yeah.
just a
that's
little
it.
bit of a
Season
slight
one.
variation. That's it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
managed
but
to
it's
dig out.
essentially the same.
Yeah, I managed to dig out the deck that I used for HAT, which was season one, and yeah, it looks pretty similar.
It is, right?
Yeah, it is like it's just that there's well, I don't
Yeah.
play I don't play Wild Growth because it's just a I don't know, I just find it a very weird card.
Yeah.
And this
And-
deck do have problems with the aggressive decks.
The thing is, the reason why that deck was so wildly successful in season one was because in that meta anyway, it was the age of the handlock. So that deck was made to counter handlock, and nowadays we're back against handlock. So, so I guess in the short term this will work, but like you guys are saying, I can't see how this list would stand up to the new age aggro decks.
Yeah.
Aggro deck version 2.
Like if I were to bring this deck to the tournament, I'm definitely not gonna open with this deck because I have to know
What you're up
what
against, right?
opponent is playing. Yeah. Can you imagine you open up against a warlock and you have no idea what kind of warlock it is, and then next moment you find out, oh crap, it's a zoo, and I have no way to deal with the early aggression. And
This
then,
has got
oh,
nothing
I'm-
to do with Zoo, man. I mean, there is
Yeah.
virtually nothing that could kill it. You don't want to swipe the 0-4 like Crea has made his point, because that's just plain stupid. So there is nothing much you could do here.
Yeah.
So, Crea, I'm getting allegations that you are the Southeast Asian ECOP. Do you have any comments about that?
Sorry?
Oh snap!
What did you say?
That you're the Southeast Asian ECOP. I got that from. He'll remain nameless for now, but I'll call him out later.
See, Echo,
What?
Crea.
Oh god, then Sushi will be named because he's like the RNG god then.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, did you see the brawl last night on IEM? Man,
Oh yeah, it was insane.
he had 4 minions across his board. He played Defender Argus, he played Brawl, and his Defender won. That's Nimsh for you. 20% chance, he got it. Crazy RNG. But yeah, back to the point here. So, Crea, what do you have to say to that allegation being Southeast Asian ECOP? Do you like that or do you don't like that?
I have no idea. That caught me by surprise, man. But
Say something inflammatory. Hunter suck.
no, but I mean, if you are playing your very best and like someone with a massive luck came along and just steamroll, I mean, obviously you'll be angry, man.
King Crea now.
I'm actually okay, just that I haven't gotten a beating off Miracle Rope like 5 straight in a row. It's quite
It's quite hard to swallow.
it's quite hard to solo, honestly speaking. I mean, have you ever like I tried one of the game I had like a 4-6 watcher, 2 4-6 watcher, both taunted, and I think a Azura Drake or Yeti on the field with Nagas of Defender. And then he just had 2 Deadly Poison and a Blade Fury. Oh, I'm telling you, man, my mind went blank at that moment.
Oh, I want to ask WaningMoon, what does he
Yeah.
think about the Miracle Rope when he fights it?
I haven't fought it that much recently.
Oh, so you didn't really meet much. Maybe I should introduce you to one guy called Wen Sushi.
Oh yeah.
We can
think-
get Beyond to hook you up. This is pretty. His RNG is crazy, man.
I think it's really good against Warrior right now. I mean, it didn't used to be, but then the list right now are using Assassin's Blade, right? And
Yeah.
that makes a really big difference. I mean, I think I used to be 70% or something against it. Before they had Assassin's Blade, and then the list that had Assassin's Blade, all of a sudden I couldn't beat anymore with Warrior. Handlock actually maybe it's 50-50 against it in my experience.
Oh, dude, you're wrong, man. When the god is shining upon you, it's 100% against a handlock.
Well,
He lost twice. That's why he lost
got
twice
smashed twice.
in the grand finals. I will link you the VOD in the Skype later, so you can laugh at him when you play with him next time. It's crazy. But
Okay,
yeah,
guys, let's like switch up the topic a bit. You know, we've been talking about Ting Master so much that poor NetPago has been ignored. So let's just talk a little bit about NetPago.
I think it's still fine. NetBabel is still working very well. I mean, it might be AFK sometimes, but it's a card that is a lot more balanced now because it gives you an opportunity to address it, just like the Shield Bearer. I think it's 04, except that this one draw cards and is a lot more lethal to a certain extent. So I want to hear what you guys think as well. First, since Beyond asked this question, he'll answer last. So I think it's good to ask Machtung since we haven't heard from him for quite a while.
And I also want to point out that somebody in the Philippine group actually asked the question, why is Nat so bad right now? And Mactong actually gave a pretty good answer to it. Do you want to just repeat what you said?
Sure. What the nerf was, you lose half a card. Essentially, that's it. Because with the old Nat Pagel, I mean, you guys all know this, but in case anyone's watching, with the old Nat Pagel, you had a guaranteed 50% chance to draw a card. Nowadays, you don't get that. You don't get that guarantee. So essentially, you're losing half a card. So is Nat still playable? I think yeah, very much so. But it has to be in the correct deck. Because the idea for me is if you're going to spend 2 mana, for a card, then you might want to use Loot Hoarder, maybe. And if you wanted to use it for tempo, then why not just play a Shield Bearer? It's cheaper. So it really depends on your deck. But personally, for the Shaman I'm experimenting now, it still uses it because I'm trying to make Bloodlust work. So the reason I'm using Nat Pagel is because he tends to stick around more. I mean, he won't die as easily as say a Mana Tide. And he definitely will stick around longer than a Loot Hoarder. So yeah, those are my thoughts. It's usable, but the type of decks that can use it, it's just so much more narrower, and you have to be a lot more deliberate with your card choices. Like, does he really fit your deck strategy before you decide to flop it in?
No, I was lagging. Sorry.
Alright, and what about WaningMoon? Do you run that Pagel in your version of the handlock?
No. I've never had big. Even before the nerf, I didn't have Pagel and Handlock.
Because lock generally have got the
Yeah.
live tap function. Alright, that's fair. And Crea? You
Mhm.
used to run it quite a fair bit, you used to hate it quite a fair bit. You used to complain that Sushi's Pagel draws every single time. Every single time, and he draws the right card. So, what do you find it? How do you find it now, really?
I think it's an average card. Still poses a big threat because if it does draw on the next turn, it's still a huge advantage going to the Net Pagel user. But I wouldn't say that it's an auto include now because like what Max said is half a disadvantage if you don't draw. But however, opponent will still try to waste a turn or cards to try and remove your Net Pagel because it's still lethal if it's still on the board for a long time. However, after a 4-cost transit from early game to mid game, late game is practically useless because once you play it, and during the late game, everyone mostly have answers towards 4 HP. So it's very useful still in the early stages, but the late game is not as much.
Like, because it's 15% in the past, we give it like an average of 2 turns to make it fair, to at least draw a card to make it worth it. But now that you draw at the start of your turn, it is essentially a turn 3 now to make it fair, to even to at least pull a card out of it to make the value worth it. So it feels like Pego is the kind of card that you have to play really, really early, or if not, its purpose is just not there anymore. Because if you play in the mid game, it just feels very weird. You're probably desperate for card draws by then, and you can't really afford to go on a average turn 3 wait just to draw a card. Okay.
Right.
That Blizzard kind of nerfs everything into the, and then people using the cards that they nerf. What do you have changed for Master and for Nat?
Sorry?
How have dealt
I
with
think
it?
you're breaking out, Katips. Are you?
Sorry, can you repeat?
He's breaking up.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry, is this better?
I do not think so.
Oh.
I think you got nerfed into oblivion.
Casted into oblivion. Yeah. I want to ask everyone a quick question while Katips sorts out this microphone. What do you think is the next legendary that needs to be addressed if you're on a this nerf spree here?
Karin.
Tyrion?
No, Karin Bloodhoof.
Karen.
Karen
King
Bloodhoof. Yeah.
Bloodhoof.
So instead of spawning a 4/5, you spawn a 4/3 or something? So slightly smaller? As in, how would you nerf this card?
Probably spawn a smaller unit or increase its cost by 1 or something like that. Because 2, 4, 5 is a pain in the ass to deal with. That's like double eating up your face.
Yeah.
But isn't treating Karen like he's kind of like a 410 almost. I mean, he's not really because he has two life, right? But effectively, since his damage doesn't change, it's like you can read him as a 410, a 410 for 6. That doesn't sound too bad.
Sounds pretty bad, but yeah.
It basically loses a lot of value, but I guess everyone loves Karn so much that it's kind of like an auto-include as
I
well.
mean, if they kind of nerfed it to be something like the Harvest Golem, like maybe you respond to a 4/3, maybe it might
Slightly
be better.
smaller.
Yeah, slightly smaller. Like Harvest Golem retains the attack, but the toughness goes down. So maybe they could do the same for King Bloodhoof if they ever nerf it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I
But
think
again, if they nerf that card, I don't think you have
You'll be
much.
safe.
You don't have much cards to play with anymore.
true
Yeah,
that.
I mean, we'll be
Speaking of
playing with Illidan or something.
Speaking of King Bloodhoof, he seems to be one of those very crucial cards in a mirror match, especially in a warrior mirror.
Yeah, brawl your
Yeah.
face.
You brawl and hey, I still have a minion. and the advantage and tempo is still on my side. So, and 5 toughness is pretty hard to remove, which is why like the popularity of Yeti is all there.
Yeah, the value Yeti, as Trump would have said it. So yeah, I think Katip's microphone is okay. Do you want to try?
Testing. Is this better?
Yeah.
Slightly.
Yeah.
All right. So, given Blizzard's track record of stuff into the ground to unusability, how would you guys have changed Nat and Tink? Would you have done anything to nerf them to make a little bit more usable still, rather than Tink totally being nerfed? I mean, totally being unused, and then Nat more 90% unusable. How would you guys have done it?
Net Bagel is fine.
Yeah, that's-
Ting Master, I don't really know how to nerf it. Actually, I think the previous before the nerf it was fine as it is because it's still RNG based. It's still 1/1 or a 5/5. You know, if you got lucky, well, it is very good for you. But if you got unlucky, opponents still have average unit on field. Just that his whatever effects is just taken away. So actually it's quite fine. Maybe you can increase the cost by 1, but right now it's just stupid, man.
Well, I would say that the Devil's Saw could have been nerfed a little bit. Instead of 5/5, maybe a 4/4 or maybe a 3/3. You know, that's maybe the maximum that you can go with that and there. Generally, there's a lot of play with regard to little certain amount of RNG, and there's also a lot of analysis on a lot of websites that say that you have this value trade, or rather playing Ting Master very effectively. So if you are in a very bad spot, you can consider just using Ting Master on your own minion and changing to a 5/5 or 4/4. That's still 5/5 or 1/1 is still worth it. And on the flip side, like what Crea said, you can also use it on your opponent's big ass minions like Ragnaros and stuff like that. But Blizzard's idea into nerfing the Ting Master so that Ragnaros and the rest of the bigger cards like Ysera gets played a little bit more often. And they don't really want a situation where all the classes got that the instant remover leverage. And
Yeah.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah, but when that happens, you see classes like Control Warrior come out rampant with like 7S legendary. How are you going to answer to that 7 legendary? Apart from playing shamans and mages, there's practically nothing to do with it. He just come out and then you see that card and then you know you're fucking screwed. Next thing you know, oh, I'm dead.
I guess so.
Actually, something like Ysera right now, where you get a free, it's Ysera Awakens, kind of, you're in a fantastic position next turn. Even if they try to deal with your Ysera, you can just clear the board and start over.
Yeah.
Well, actually, my thoughts on the Think nerf. I mean, like Crea was right. Nat is fair. The Nat change was fine. For Think, I actually think that Think is fine. What they did to Think is fine. And the reason I'm saying that is it's not so much what the card does, but the reason why they nerfed it in the first place. Right? The reason that they applied the nerf was not because the effect was too powerful, but because you saw Think in every damn single deck that there was. Because remember Season 1, the running joke was, how do I make a Season 1 Legend deck? You put Clerics, you put Defender of Argus, you put Argent Commander, put 2 Novices, pick your class, and then auto-complete. Tada! And congrats, you're at Legend. So... so I think it was more of that. They changed it up so that it, instead of being an auto-include, it becomes, I guess, more situational. Because you can still use it, right? Like in an open format.
That's like saying Gelbin is usable.
Yeah. So you see when they removed they reduced Think Master's ability, right? Cards like Karin it becomes unstoppable. There's no direct answer to Karin apart from silence, and not much deck runs silence. Like how are you gonna deal with a Ysera? This is a 4/12. You can't VGH it. Your only answer will be hexing it. And then what are you gonna do with it? Apart from Crazed Alchemist, which not many people run. Like I said, silence. There's actually nothing much you could do with it.
I'd kill
play
him.
aggro.
Yeah, exactly what Waning Moon said. How do I deal with Ysera? Kill him before he can cast it.
Actually,
4/12. What gonna do with it, man? My bro, you're gonna eat the card.
No, he means to end the game before Ysera comes.
End
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, that's why Zoo are on rampant right now. I mean, if you transit to late game right now, it's just bad. It's just pure bad.
I guess you're right in that sense. And well, I'm actually gonna ask a question here from a tournament organizer point of view. There's a lot of new players that are joining, this Hearthstone scene, and all of them do not have legendary and are getting very disheartened because whenever they go up against people like Crea, he's just gonna have like 10 legendaries. People like Beyond maybe have got 15 and stuff like that. So, would it be a good idea to have something like an amateur league going on in tandem with a very modest price pool, but something that restricts your legendary to 0 and just maybe maximum 1 epic, rare and basic cards are fine. What do you
I guess
find
you can always just run the limited format. And
the limited
just go
format,
with
you will not
and
have any epic, right?
no
Or rare?
epics and no legendary.
Yeah, but no epic makes it very boring. Because some of
I
the
think
epics
this is
are
our
actually quite fun.
chance to that this Friday we're actually running a limited Swiss
Oh, yeah.
in the Philippine Hearthstone community. If you guys want to join, so just single deck, play against everyone, most everyone, and then have no epics, no legendaries, and what you can come up with. Which is
I'm
gonna face
going
Hunter
to put
and
my
Zoo,
money in that more than half will be taken back.
So
Yeah.
come join Zoo and Hunter turn. So
Zoo Hunter tournament.
Yeah, the Zoo
No, it's gonna be a mage tournament. I'm telling you. Everyone
yeah.
net deck Stripe. Net deck Trump.
Trump budget. Yeah, correct. Budget mage, right? For Trump.
Yep, that's the one.
Crazy
All
stuff.
free cards.
So would that be viable? I mean, would people actually want that? Would that be more fun, or would the standard tournament be more fun?
Well,
I mean, it's good to have a variety from time to time, just to make
Yeah, I
things
agree.
interesting.
variety just keeps everything interesting. If Actually, one thing that would be cool if Blizzard finally put an arena tournament in there. You can do drafts in a tournament setting. I think that would be the last one we need at the moment.
Yeah. What about manual drafting? Because I'm running one in season finale.
Why
What?
do you do a draft?
It's offline. Well, you'll see. We're doing manual drafting.
Like the only way I can think we can draft is we actually print out all the cards, we run a generator, and then we throw them into packs, and then
You don't need to do
Drafting
you
and
don't need to do that. Come on, you have software to have you randomize. If you don't realize, I'm kind of very in sync with the random.org website. So
because my impression of a draft is like you look through a pack of cards and then you pick one and then you pass on and stuff like that.
no, we will have a
That's
better
gonna
way
be
to do it. But yeah,
Right.
I'll try the format out and I'll let you guys know again. But yeah, any other things you'd like to discuss today before we call it a day?
Let's see.
Let's talk about Machtung's run on the ladder. How is it going?
God,
I
it's
see a
so
lot of-
painful.
I see a lot of salt in your.
It is
Not
so
enjoying your
painful,
rank.
I swear. No, it's fine now, because I was
Because you ran
having
Hunter,
trouble.
that's why.
Yes, because I ran Hunter. I was having trouble with my Shaman, because I'm not a very big Shaman player, to be honest. So I was trying to get it to work, experimenting with all sorts of stuff. You know, I gave up. I just switched to Hunter, and then I gained 2 ranks just like that.
Give in the pressure there. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I sold out.
No, it's not selling out. Man, if the people you're playing aren't playing safe against Hunter, then there's nothing wrong with playing Hunter. I mean, it's their fault for playing greedy.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
Hunter is bullshit.
I was waiting for that.
It's official. Crea just hates aggro and
No, I'm fine with it. It's just the dogs. You know, the dogs.
Crea has spoken, man. King Crea has spoken. No dogs for this country.
Yeah, that's why there's the song "Who Let the Dogs Out," man. Shit. The dogs count and you're dead.
You know, hey Babel, you know what you should do? You should have an invitational tournament where everybody we play Swiss with Crea, and then we should all run Hunter except for Crea.
Yeah. You can see.
Oh well, I'll run headlock today. I'm gonna be clever.
Oh no, sorry, we'll run Hunter and Miracle Row. There you go.
Oh yeah, that's right. We'll have Sushi
no,
playing there.
Zoo
So.
with Leroy and 2 power overwhelming.
And we call it a revolution
brighten up his
incoming.
day.
Revolution, yeah.
Revolution
Run
incoming.
30 tons in your face.
The first Southeast Asian civil war.
Yeah, man. It's like Hitler
guess.
versus Nazi. It's like Nazi killing everyone.
No, we're just against you, man.
Shit.
but yeah, it'll be fun. I mean, a more viable option is to actually force the player to sign up with the class he hates and see how far he goes and put a pretty decent price by the very end. And we see what he says after that. Like, I know Crea hates Hunter and maybe Beyond hates the zoo. He's gonna have to play the zoo and all that stuff. I think that's gonna be quite fun as invitational.
Yeah, and
And then-
Machtung has to use Stone Giant because it represents him.
Mountain Giant.
Yeah,
Oh.
all stone and stone. In
Or
every
maybe,
deck, even
or maybe
Hunter.
we can start drafting for each other and let them play the deck. See how far they go.
Hey, I do have one last question though. I guess
Alright.
this one's for Wade. So far I've noticed like a lot of the decks that we've been talking about today you haven't been seeing on ladder, right? So that begs the question: what have you been seeing on ladder at your rank?
Hunter.
Hunter.
You see?
Warrior, Hunter, Warrior, Handlock, and been starting to see druids again, like Watcher druids,
ancient
token
Watcher.
druids.
And
Some
people run
shaman.
Hunter because it wins, right?
No, people run I mean, people run Hunter because there are times when everybody's playing Handlock. I mean, there are days when everyone's playing Handlock and Shaman. Then the
And you
next
just
day,
punish them.
everybody's playing Hunter. Then the
Okay.
day after that, people are playing Warrior again. I think it just cycles.
yeah.
So the moral of the story is to prepare all three, and then if you
Rock,
just
scissors,
run into
paper, my
three up a
friend.
lot, switch.
The meta changes literally every day.
That's
Every
true.
day.
Every
Even-
hour.
time, right? I mean, the decks that you run into in the morning are very different from the ones you see in the evening.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's very, very true.
No, it's true because it's a question of who's awake.
That's
Right.
very,
No,
very.
not what's up. It's true.
I know, it's true, but I'm just laughing at the fact that that kind of stuff can actually happen. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, anyway, guys, I think we're gonna call it a day here. It's been an hour, 30 minutes of it's a little bit longer than what I expected because I wanted to cut into short parts and put it on YouTube, so it's a lot easier to listen and play, Hearthstone at the same time and laugh at it. But yeah, so I think it's time for shoutouts. And first off, let's go with the guests from Philippines because they did take the time and effort to rush back home. I think Machtung, especially for you rushed all the way home just to be here. So we'll start with shout out with
looked like a
Machtung
mountain
first.
giant.
Yeah?
Yeah, just a quick shout out to the Hearthstone Philippine community. We're small, we're growing, but we're getting there. That's it.
Very nice, concise words. Next would be WaningMoon.
Shout
Who is
outs
not
to my teammates at Imperium and the people I practice with, all my practice partners in the ladder, and the
K-balls.
Hearthstone community. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, great. And then we'll follow up with the captain of ManaSurge Beyond.
No. Shout out to my teammates in ManaSurge. Shout out to my girlfriend. Shout out to everyone who's in this podcast today. Thanks for taking the time to come down and make this first session a very successful one.
Thank you. And last guest here will be Crea.
Yeah, shout out to Babael for fishing Ikan Bilis.
Come on, you still had that joke. Ecom
Shout out to everyone
really.
here. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in, asking questions, and the community is growing, and hope we'll have a friendly community with competitive games where we don't give each other advantages. Play your fullest and let's grow as one.
Very wise words from the king, and we have also Katips, my co-host here.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all, again. It was great to cast with you, Babael. I'd like to shout out, of course, again to the Philippine community. When I started, 8 weeks ago, we were only about 40 people. Now we're going up to 700 as of tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Also, the Singapore community, you guys invading us, it's a good thing to see tournaments, high-level players, instead of just being stomped on WaningMoon all day. So we get to see a variety of us getting oppressed. So that, and yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
All right, awesome.
Invade the world. We are gonna invade the world.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna say a few words before I do my shoutouts. The first things first is thank you to Katips and the Philippines community for being very, warm and just helping out to build a C community. I'm engaging the Thais as we speak, but because they don't have English as a main language, we cannot really communicate. And that's a bit of a factor there. And
Yeah.
I did tell my fellow community member here in Singapore that if we can ever do any offline collaboration with Philippines, it would be really good. So maybe we could work towards that. And the next thing is a huge shout out to everyone tuning in today and who will be watching this on the YouTube channel. Hope you guys enjoyed this Southeast Asian first ever podcast for Hearthstone. We will definitely come back with more people and probably not gonna do once a week because the meta don't change that quick, and everyone here is gonna through whatever that needs to be said for the next 2 months. Unless something happens or someone wins something big, then we'll talk to them again. So yeah, and also huge shout out to every one of my guests here for coming in and for being really insightful. All of you know the game better than I do. I'm still rank 18, and I will stay rank 18 because I don't give a shit. But yeah, Katips is like nah. But yeah, all right. So hope you guys enjoy this episode of the special podcast by this Hearthstone C stars here. Hope you guys give me a better name so that we can have a better show under a better
Wait,
title.
see what?
This
It says C.
Hearthstone
It
by
says
C.
C stars?
Yeah, C stars.
I think it should be sea salt.
Yeah, you know why it's called sea stars?
Yeah,
Because
sea
it goes
salt
with
sounds
stars.
right. Yeah.
Sea
Sea
salt.
salt because you go on the ladder and then you come back and you're
Southeast Asian salt here. Yeah.
Salt.
All right. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys again. For the next time, do note Wednesday we have EHL Season 1 Cycle 2, and that's Group D. And a lot of the fellow Singaporeans as well as the community members from Philippines and Thailand could be playing. So do tune in for that one there. And we will have the entire Cycle 2 done by next Wednesday. So follow the full schedules could be on our Facebook page. Follow us there. And yep, I think I will drop the link for all the individual members here who want a Facebook page linked on the chat in a short while. So yep, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed today, and goodbye.
All right, thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks. Let's all be salty.
Says the king.